Witness, be advised the shots fired were mine.
Breaking developments in an ongoing controversy in a suburban police department. The officer who shot a teenager in a mall parking lot is now in line to get his job back and even collect back pay. Our Michelle Nix has the breaking developments on the years-long legal battle.
After a series of appeals, the city of Beachwood has reached a tentative agreement with the police officer involved in that controversial shooting of a teenager in the mall parking lot. Now Beachwood City Council will have to approve the deal that includes $230,000 in back pay. June 27th, 2019, Beachwood police officer Blake Rogers shot a 19-year-old in the parking lot of Beachwood Place Mall. Police say the teen ran and jumped in his car after stealing a hat. The teen was not seriously hurt, but Officer Rogers was placed on leave during an investigation, never charged with any wrongdoing. However, he was fired for the controversial shooting a year and a half later. The officer claimed at the time of the shooting the teen ran over his foot, but others argue the video shows that did not happen. Now a tentative settlement agreement calls for Officer Rogers to be cleared, reinstated to the police force, and paid $230,000 in back pay.
If council accepts it, then I will sign that agreement. I'll be authorized to sign that agreement.
The Fraternal Order of Police representing Rogers is already on board. And while there were questions about his actions that day and a city that fought against him coming back, he could be back in blue with a badge and gun after nearly 4 years.
I am very glad. I think it's good to, at this point, we need to move forward and put this incident behind us at this point.
Beachwood City Council could meet as early as Tuesday to discuss and vote on that tentative agreement. Officer Rogers would then have to be determined fit for duty and reach state requirements before he could return to work.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hi everyone. This is Lions Den with another news and commentary. I want to bring up the situation that happened in 2019 in Beachwood, Ohio, which is a suburban part of Cleveland. Now, this officer who shot this 19-year-old black kid at a shopping mall in Beachwood, I mean, luckily he wasn't hurt, but he was accused of shoplifting and stealing like a hat. So you saw what happened. He ran into his car and drove off. And then that's when the same officer shot the person twice. Now remember, the person who's been shot was 19-year-old Jaquan Jones, and at that time, Jaquan Jones, you know, as you can see on the body cam video, the officer chased Jaquan Jones through the mall, and he got in his car because allegedly he stole a hat. And he was unarmed. He drove out of the parking lot. This same officer shot the dude twice. Luckily, he wasn't hurt. The officer, of course, is claiming that he was accusing Jaquan Jones of, you know, using his car, you know, stepping on his foot. But other people say that's really not true. As you can see, 4 years later, they decided to reinstate him and paid $230,000 in back pay over this. And now it's been an uproar in Beachwood, and at Beachwood City Council, as the reporters said, that they're going to vote on this to reinstate the officer back into full duty. But ladies and gentlemen, let's be realistic. That kid would have been deleted that day. It would have been deleted. Luckily, he was okay, but he would have been deleted. But then you have to understand that it shows you that police will never be held accountable for their actions. Instead of being completely, you know, terminated from his job, they decided to bring him back 4 years later, along with back pay, along with $230,000 in back pay. While the kid who was, you know, shot twice and survived is going to be traumatized for life because of that incident. This is why I said, ladies and gentlemen, that We don't need no police reform. And I know that Democrats and politicians want quote unquote police reform. But let's be realistic. But we don't want police reform. What we do want is end qualified immunity to stop these officers from doing all of this. But it shows you that either an officer get reinstated for what happened, or they go to another precinct. And see, this is the problem with this. Like, they cannot be justified of this right here. They can't. And again, the kid could have been killed, but what if the kid didn't, been deleted? But what if he was deleted? It'd be another unarmed black teen being deleted by the hands of police. And officers like him is going to get his badge and gun back. 4 years later. And this incident happened in 2019. It's a shame, y'all. It's like saying that, oh, we will take you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you have to do this, and this, and this. And now you have police unions that's backing the decision, saying, yes, he deserved to get his badge and gun back. But at the same time, look what he did in 2019. He was unarmed. He was trying to get away from police, and he shot the kid twice. Wounded him, basically, but luckily he's still alive. But the kid's going to be, but Jaquan Jones is going to be, quote unquote, he's going to be traumatized for the rest of his life because of this incident. And the same officer that was fired, now 4 years later, they're going to have a hearing, want to know, to bring this officer back, plus with full back pay. And again, I will give a shout out to Imposter. You can follow him on Twitter. It's Imposter_edits. You can follow this man on Twitter, and he'll tell you the details of this investigation. But it shows you that it doesn't matter if the officer did wrong, they were still justifiable. Can bring the officer back 4 or 5 years later, even though he was the one that pulled the trigger, nearly killed the 19-year-old kid at the time. And 4 years later, they're gonna bring him back. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next video. This Lions Den signing off. Deuces.